But I have a theory about Jesus.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, I think that Mary had an affair with someone in the neighborhood.
You think?
Well, I mean, she's pregnant and her husband is like, oh my God, it's a miracle. And she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, we haven't even, gone all the way. This is crazy. And she's like, I know, right? Must be God's child. I imagine the neighbor's like looking over the fence, be like, oh my God, just fucking telling him it's God's child. And then the kid's born and she feels so bad, especially with the patriarchy of that time, that she just rolls with it. So here's this baby who thinks that his dad is God, and she doesn't have the heart to tell him, like, no, your dad's actually lives across the street. So he grows up his whole life thinking that, like, he's the man. And I feel like that's why his death was particularly hard for her, because she wanted to just be like, you're not the son of God. But he was already being crucified by the Romans.
I think there's a lot of credibility with that theory.
That makes more sense than the other theory.
Which is?
That Mary got impregnated by God. It's impossible.
Do you feel me? You can't stand to be near me. Yeah, well, I come from a different place. My philosophy's from outer space. My religion is strange. I think it's 'cause you fear change. Afraid to try to understand. Stranger in a strange land. Don't think I'm gonna wait. You best believe that I'm here to stay. Because my God is better than your God.
We're from Israel.
They took oceanfront property and they gave it to people for peace. How did that work out? Not good.
But at the end of the day, if you do give an animal food, and I'm trying to talk nice here, but if you do give them food and a nice place to eat, and to live, they won't be happy. They want to rule the world, and they won't.
And you really have a freedom zone. You go to the freedom zone. A free zone, a zone where people aren't going to be killed every day. That's a hell of a place.
My God is better than your God. My God is bigger than yours. But I'm Muslim, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Hindu, a Catholic.
Man, I hate that things are so bad that we have to do a commercial about it.
It's all a part of you. Well, if there's something you believe in,
have your king, I have my king. We might not agree on that, but what we will agree on is that Bitcoin. If you want to collaborate with me on anything spiritual, esoteric, I'm happy to work.
Deliver me from the guilt, but leave me with the sin. My God is better than your God. My God is bigger than yours.
Anda mencoba menurut muli mengalami medan, mau sama aku di sini.
Sabi dumi sa nagsasa.
Yung, kagabi, nakakalit sila, ubutin.
יאללה, טנק, יורה בכולם, טק, 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 הורגת את כולם.
Where were these men who yesterday were willing to die for me? Where are the, and really here's the crazy question. And is you say, where are the throngs of people who were waving palm fronds and welcoming him into Jerusalem 1 week before? And the scary answer is, they're right there. That's them. Because that's what happens when the devil takes control of us. You know, the devil moves in crowds. God speaks to us individually.
Wow.
And like, when I was talking to my...
Is that your quote? The devil moves in crowds?
I guess so.
That's the word. That is the creepiest thing I ever heard. That's anytime I'm having a bad trip. That's the vibe I get, man.
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's so creepy.
Everybody's felt it. Every single human being has felt it and knows exactly what I'm talking about.
And is that in that new building off the side?
That's in Memphis, actually.
It's in Memphis.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you were.
Yeah.
I see.
Memphis, the capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, I wish that was funny. Yeah, okay, so I want to talk to you about a line that...
I wish that was funny.
Swag. There we go. All right, welcome to seminary, everybody. Welcome
back.
Welcome to the
glorious
new
future.
the new world order.
Yeah.
We're here. We're staying aware.
Yeah.
We're staying positive,
Yeah.
relaxed, looking forward to our adventure, to the glorious
Fuck
future in
yeah.
Atlantis 2. We're
Swag.
buying commodities. We're fortifying our position.
Swag.
And we're getting ready to
Swag.
deal with the results of the red heifer sacrifice and the forming of the America Tech Bait.
Swag.
Swag.
Those things are not okay. They're not that swag, but us coming up against it, that's swag is what I meant.
Exactly.
But
you gotta
it's
kind of
about,
enjoy it. This is like a amazing opportunity we have to
well, I guess happy
have
Passover
this fight. What is it?
Yeah. I said I was just saying happy Passover.
Oh, right.
Passover
For sure.
2025. Cause that's I don't know. I think I know Easter's today. I don't know Passover was like last night or yeah, well informed, I guess, but nah. But this is like what I said in the last episodes is like, don't you feel blessed to be living in a country like this with people like me fighting the
Exactly.
power for you?
Yeah.
It's look at this. It's a beautiful world. Has anybody been out to the Idaho countryside? It's a beautiful world out here. Take it in as it is. Life
Exactly.
is. I had to tell that to somebody the other day. Life is how you live it. You could be happy or you could be fulfilled. The choice is yours. So right now we're struggling to get to the point where we need to be. I feel like, but we're taking life as it is throughout that journey.
Yeah, we're chipping away at it. It's gonna take time. This is
but it's work though.
It's a lifelong thing. This is a multi-generational Atlantis 2 forever type of thing,
Yeah.
It's gonna take time. It may take thousands of years, but we'll get there.
That's something that popped into my mind when you said multi-generational. It made me think of that Sam Hyde clip. And then it made me think of what Whitney Webb said about Bitcoin. Well, so first Sam Hyde said that like Bitcoin has 100x. We all know that though. But the most important thing is that it's for your grandchildren potentially or your children. It's something that you can pass on.
Right.
And I never really thought about it like that. I think I'm still just in like a 2-month cycle, year-long cycle, kind of like shorter range thinking.
Yeah.
But that's some true shit though. I'd never thought of it as a long-term asset that you'd hold like gold.
Yeah.
But we could see with like all the okay. So before we go any further, I'd like to say I will be doing one push-up for every time I say like unnecessarily in a sentence. So everyone be tuning that.
I'll start keeping a tally.
Yeah, we got it. When I rewatch the video, I hope it's under 50. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then what Whitney Webb said is that Bitcoin used to be something that was the reason people flocked towards it is because it was, I guess, untraceable and unseizable and like kind of outside the government system, unlike the dollar, which is heavily monitored, as we all know.
Right.
So it's really
swag.
It's not swag on surveillance, but it's not like I don't think Bitcoin's that at all anymore. Especially with the reserve, with the backing behind it, it's the singular, like stable coin.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to subvert it, and then putting it in these ETFs and everything, like taking it away from the actual, what it actually is, because that's what most people are going to be buying. And
isn't the U.S. government's now like the third largest holder of Bitcoin? Is that true? Is that true? Amy, what's his fucking name? Jamie.
Pull that up.
Yeah, Jamie, pull that up. But it's crazy though to think that Bitcoin was used to buy weed on Silk Road. Now it's something that like Congress people are gunning for to have.
Yeah.
Everybody's gunning to have it, but Camel said the FOMO's kind of gone off this year from December. Like a lot of people were in it in December, and now it's kind of fallen off, and you can see that through the graphs a little bit.
And we're like back at, as far as like sentiment goes for retail investors, we're back at like bear market lows. As far as like engagement with being interested in Bitcoin, it's not there anymore for the general public.
Yeah.
Most of the
There was like larger jumps than I was like during the beginning of the year. It was just huge ups and downs, and now it's just 84 and 85 throughout the week,
right.
and maybe like
So
it lower dips into like 83, but that's it.
yeah, it really seems like the only people who are, in it or paying attention now are like the true believers, the long-term holders, and the
Yeah.
institutions, which is kind of always how it is. Like that's always how retail is going to be. They're going to get in halfway up and or
Yeah.
at the top. But I guess that's what they get.
Yeah. So I'm looking right here. United States has about 213,000 Bitcoin,
Damn.
but compared to China, China has 190,000 Bitcoin.
Damn.
Third by UK, but that's pretty much us. We could just say that's US Bitcoin.
Yeah.
We could take it if we wanted to. Um, do you have any real feelings like about China?
Not, I mean, not
'Cause
really. I think, I mean, according to them, they're the major, they've always been the keepers of the world, the power. They're the major world order. They've been around
really?
5,000 years. We're just like little upstarts to them,
Yeah.
and we'll sink away eventually. Because I mean, I it's kind of the same thing with all people though. It's just like they'll do I don't think things would necessarily be better with them. I think it's just like they'll do crazy
Hmm.
shit too. They'll
Yeah.
they'll they'll
Well, they'll do.
sacrifice a couple million people for the glory of
Yeah.
China.
I feel like they have so with America, this I guess I could go into this right now is what I wrote down in my notes is I thought about it. I always talk about and we even called it the name of the last episode was cultural recession. I'm always talking about a cultural recession or like the
Yeah,
degradation of society. I think
yeah.
I should be I need to be a little bit more specific about who I'm talking about because I feel like I'm just calling out like everybody, every young person ever. But
We're talking
and
about
I,
the bonobos.
yeah, we're talking about the fucking momos. I'm a little bit is about like I don't want to entirely blame the left or like people who are left leaning, but I
Right.
feel like they've taken a lot more like laissez-faire, like lax. Maybe maybe lax isn't the right term. I should say more focused on things that don't really matter. I remember
Like
putting in my
like
notes there.
lefty gunplay. Like all this
Yeah.
shit. It's just, like every time I see Andrew Callahan now, I'm like, I'm so glad I wasn't good at video editing at the time.
Yeah. But just I like to say like more volatile than reliable.
Right.
And so like if you're just worried about worried about social change, shit that doesn't even really matter, shit that's like people aren't really rocking with as like a society, China doesn't have that issue as bad. There's a lot more nation's pride and a lot more people willing to sacrifice their health and their happiness for their country.
Yeah.
And in no way am I saying that people should change their views based on that. Like you should not want to be a slave to the machine
Yeah.
or a cog in the machine. But what it leads to is a stronger society and a stronger nation, and one that's more able to compete with one like ours, which is like steadily dropping off the deep end.
Yeah.
Like, I brought up this information like a couple episodes ago about the Chinese gas crisis, and I think it was some Jay Xiaoping, whatever, and they had a really terrible economy, and that's when they started moving to like hyper like the industrial revolution for them was
Mm,
like after the 70s, and that's just cascaded into where they are now of building up that slave to the machine mentality. So where now
right.
they can compete with America. My little brother asked me last night because it was his birthday and he got a bunch of toys and stuff. He said, "Why does it all say made in China?" Like he legit asked me that. And I was like, "Well, China's more of a factory economy and the US is more of a trade economy." And my dad like got up. He was for some reason that made him mad. because we were talking. I was arguing about tariffs with him the other night, but but
What's he
it's
think?
he's very anti-Trump, and so he does not like anything Trump does. If it comes from him, it's not good. He thinks he's
Yeah.
evil, and he's very religious, very Christian. I don't know if I should be, like calling my dad out right now. So,
No, nothing wrong with that. I'm trying to
but
find my Bible right now.
but he's believes that Elon is going to bring on the mark of the beast, that the nano chip in your wrist,
I mean,
and he said
I'm not
he
seeing much
said
to the contrary.
yeah. So his idea is a cabin in the woods,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's hard to argue the Sam Hyde point of view, or like that's not the answer, because my dad does not give a fuck about being culturally relevant, culturally like he doesn't give a fuck about being PC. He stands on his business. And so he's like, I'm tired of this shit. I want a cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I from your point of view, I can't disagree. The fuck do I
Right.
want to do it? What do I want a podcast for? What do I want a business for?
Yeah.
This system, this shit. But
Yeah.
uh
Because that's what I would kind of say about like all these countries,
I can't agree with his distrust.
right? Is like,
What
you
were you gonna
know,
say?
just like all these countries and like how you view them and stuff, it's like they're kind of all the same once you like get down to who runs it and how they operate. But like, like Alex Jones was saying one time, he's like, "Yeah, I like the idea of America. I like what most people
Yeah,
think it is, not what it actually is." Um,
like the idea of technocracy. I really like the idea of the technocracy and how it's gonna function, but is that really how it's gonna work?
Probably not, because I've been thinking about this recently too. Because of my job, I will go off on my job. I'm not gonna be there too much longer.
That's
Um,
dude. I don't know. The better we do with the podcast and shit, and the more I know about finances, I'm like, fuck my job. But
yeah,
we're not there yet. We gotta. I'm
not
not there
quite
yet.
yet, but
Yeah.
I'll still talk a little bit of shit
Yeah. Go
because
ahead. Go
I've
on.
just been thinking about this recently. Like, you know, what they want to do is like they're talking about laying people off. Not me because I'm a 5-star worker and I'm doing
Yeah.
good. So,
I'm a good
you know,
boy.
yeah, they wouldn't let everybody take 2 days off, but they'll allow it in my case, and they're not going to lay me off yet. But it's like they're starting to talk about like laying people off and stuff, and it's like really you're gonna lay off a guy is because they're like we're gonna lay off people like I'm not gonna look like Bob, but they actually
Yeah.
named a guy. I was like okay, that was kind of unnecessary, first of
Yeah. That is
all,
crazy.
but like you're gonna lay off this guy who I mean it probably makes the company a profit, but also it's like he doesn't probably get the best piecework either. If
Yeah.
he or just in general, they probably don't get the best piecework either because they're
That
not
guy's
as
towing.
productive. So it's
That
like,
guy's towing a car.
damn,
Sorry. Yeah. That's what's gonna happen to Bob when you lay him off. They're gonna be fucking towing him down the salmon countryside.
yeah. And it's like, what do you think's gonna happen? It's like a company that makes millions and millions of dollars. The most important thing for it is to lay off this guy who makes like a few $100 a week, you know?
Yeah.
And like,
That's your first plan.
yeah, what do you think's gonna happen? It's like, I guess it's just businesses like, cause yeah, Taylor Shellfish they export a lot of like gooey duck and stuff to China, so then now that they're not doing that anymore, and a lot of sales have slowed down just across the board.
Yeah.
Um, so they're trying to cut way down, but it's like, also I know they've made millions and millions of past years, like they should have some. I know they have money saved up,
They have
but
capital.
yeah, they're not trying to stay afloat. They're trying to refine and
Optimize
expand.
profits. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like even if it's just businesses like this, like yeah, those people get laid off, they start spending less money. All of a sudden things really start to slow down and all of a sudden I mean, I do see how it could happen. Like we could be in a depression in the next couple years, you know? And
Yeah,
then also I do see how it could happen. It's like those same people who made those decisions are the people that are gonna have control over the food and stuff and are gonna be like,
exactly.
yeah, but we can't give it away. We can't sell it at lower prices. So
It's like
we'll just let them starve. Like anyway.
I like to think it's like well you definitely down the right path. I like to think the alternative though, if we didn't like okay, there's one like if we didn't have the tariffs, we'd be cascading into a different kind of demise, which is uh way way too much export, way too much import, or yeah, way too much import back and forth with China. And then China, uh it's right now I think right now it's better for them to move. They were moving into more of a trade economy and away from a factory economy.
Yeah.
But with the tariffs and everything, they have to revert back to that. And America has to build its own kind of have another industrial. I think we need another industrial revolution.
The fourth
That
industrial revolution where we digitize everything and create new markets and, get
yeah,
rid of all the excess waste and put these people in pods.
but that's what we have to do as a society to stay afloat. But to stay afloat is also cascading into your demise. You know what I mean? It happened with
Yeah.
the Romans. As soon as Rome got too big to where you had to have East and West, that's when it was weak enough for people to come in and slowly, like the Germanic tribes, to slowly come in and take it back over, like little by little. So all these empires and they've all fallen. It's inevitable, and there's a end that you cascade into, and we've started on this path. That's what I wanted to say. Is not entirely blaming the left. I want to blame. I don't. Yeah, I don't want to blame society because that sounds like I'm trying to be the Joker.
Right.
But I've noticed that society has taken a path, and there's actions that we've kind of taken to subvert towards different paths. And with this one right now, Trump subverted us into we need a more factory-based economy. It's like that the AI of like all the fat American people making chips,
Right.
and that's something too I saw is that's what we first started doing in the Biden campaign, or when not the campaign but the presidency, was that there was more US manufactured chips, and I don't know how I
Oh,
feel
like
about that exactly.
semiconductor chips. Right,
Yeah,
right.
like GPUs and CPUs and stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about China having a ban on their GPUs because they're just gonna put them on fucking rockets. Uh, so it's
Right.
because there is a ban on Chinese people having chips. The U.S. wants to manufacture the most chips. You can kind of see the reasoning behind that, but uh, I've got a little off topic here. We're just be wary of the path that we're on. What are the
Yeah.
obvious next steps to what's going on right now? Is kind of the thinking that I've taken on. It's
Right.
like, okay, so this happened, and then when I'm taking in for information, it's like, okay, I understand this now, but what can I do with my critical thinking to expand upon that? It's like we're in this current situation. What can I do with my critical thinking to possibly predict what's going to happen next? Or like deductive reasoning. We're presented with all this evidence, but not enough people are using deductive reasoning to kind of figure out their own plan. But that's what the glorious future is young.
Yeah.
At its core, it's young people asking questions.
Yeah.
It's what made JRE the best podcast. Was
Right.
it just young, proactive thinkers?
Yeah.
So
And that's what it's gonna take is like actually having everybody being proactive, everybody playing a part in
exactly,
in the future because like back to the whole, you know, as part of like a wider thing that's happening, as you could see this like dynamic with the elites and then the people down here are just like following their little paths along the track.
yeah,
Um, is that I think this kind of connects is that with the technate and everything and wanting to be a self-sufficient thing.
Mm-hmm.
And just sort of back to what I was saying on past episodes is uh I don't know if that all connects, but with like here's an idea to take people to, I'm trying to think what the word is for it, but to build more technology and stuff that takes people out of jobs. And,
Yeah.
Personally, I would hope that everybody is like active enough in doing like creative projects and thinking and like trying to reach their full potential and everything. But uh on the other hand, you can kind of understand where the elites are coming from is like these are just cattle to be controlled because what does happen if everybody has all this free time and
Exactly.
they're not kept in check. Um, and as I've heard the higher ups say at at work is like, the workers have been kind of spoiled. Um,
Yeah.
is that a lot of those people will just uh with all their free time to jerk off and smoke weed, as he once said.
Yeah.
Um,
It'll be idiocracy.
yeah, so you can kind of understand where the elites are coming from is like, yeah, what are these people gonna do? We kind of have to control them. So that's what I would hope, Atlantis too is people that are, you know,
Yeah. We don't.
active and deserve their fair share
Yeah.
of how we've progressed as a species because we haven't been given that. We haven't been given our fair share.
Yeah.
And that's mostly because people haven't been active in it. It's just been a small minority. Um,
And
and,
even and
and people haven't really demanded what they're owed. Um, and
I think
everybody's
they've
just
kind of
gotten
shrugged it
gotten
off.
too
The collect.
relaxed. It's been a big
Yeah.
nap.
Yeah. The collective consciousness. I think the way media portrays things to us is such a small like cycle, such a short cycle that it's almost impossible to not just shrug most of this shit off when you hear it.
Right.
And the but that leads to like the such a density of information that it's hard to not get lost within it even when you do start asking questions. So this is the steps that I've taken as like somebody starting to do the podcast like the last 2-3 years that we've done this is at first it was just, oh, this is funny. Oh, I forgot about it. And then you start remembering all this stuff, but it's all fucking nonsense. And so you have to be able to dive deep into the nonsense to pull out the thing that actually matters.
Right.
And most people don't want to most of the time I don't want to have to do the work to pull that information out. But it does take a lot of time.
Yeah.
And it is an everyday thing too. It's not something it's like lifting weights. You can't just go one day a week. You got to be there every day. You take a rest day, but you got to be in that office every day
Yeah.
going through the information. You got to be up on what's going on. But going back to what you said where it's like these people need a place to be 9 o'clock to 5. Or they don't know
Yeah.
what the fuck to do.
Tell tell me
And it's like,
tell me where to go, Baster. What should I
yeah.
do today?
Well, and I don't want to put anybody down, but some people are okay with that. They don't need the shit that we need. I guess they're not as greedy as we are.
Right. Yeah.
But um I know people that all they want to do is get fucked up. All they want to do is fucking drink, you know what I mean? And I wonder what would happen to those people if they didn't have a place to be 9 to 5. You know what I mean? And then what happens to the economy and what happens to this consumer economy? Because the technocracy says it wants to give out rations or credits, you
Right.
know. But look at any country that was giving out rations. Any like place that was forced to be giving out rations. Are
Yeah.
they ever good? Are they ever enough? You
Yeah.
know? And this is what I said earlier. You have to take the obvious steps in your mind to piece out the puzzle. You got to take, okay, let's take the evidence we have and let's go and let's move forward with it. That's why you got to
Right.
be. That's why you got to be scared of anything the government's proposing they want to do, because it's not for the reasons they're telling you. You
Yeah.
know, cigarette companies, they when they started to market to women, they marketed this sort of way to where it was providing women power. It was making them more seem more strong and masculine. When in
Right.
reality, the only reason they wanted to do that is because they weren't covering 40% of the population, which is women. They wanted women. They wanted everybody to smoke. But they presented it as we wanted women to be more powerful. No, they just wanted to sell to you. So it's like especially there's another like with celebrity politics, like politicians have been brought down as celebrities, and celebrities have kind of been brought up into more a politician standpoint. But regardless of any of that, the way like the media is set up, it's all just an advertisement for something.
Yeah.
You can't have anybody on a stage speaking unless they're advertising something to you, whether it be a product, a way of life, or just themselves. They want you to either be spiritually or monetarily involved with them. Every relationship for them is transactional, you know? And that's why celebrity politics makes me really sad. Kind of off topic rant, but we're talking about the degradation of society, I guess part 2 now. But
Yeah.
I don't know if there is any way back from this, unless there is like a mass awakening of people
Right.
that are willing to take an action against this. And it can't be, and it has to be like a true. That guy gets it. It has to be a true coming from the heart, glorious future season 3 type riot. It can't be. It can't
Yeah.
be storming the Capitol. It can't be fucking
Right. Right.
like
Because
it
you always
has
hear these just bullshit narratives like eat the rich or like I'm just like yeah, let's just overthrow this. And then
all
it's like,
cops are
yeah,
bad.
yeah, and then it's like, yeah, what happens afterward? What happens after the old system is
Yeah,
overthrown? It's like
yeah,
Animal Farm, it's like all the dumb animals. Like the first people came
exactly.
in,
I
they
can't believe I
had good
forgot about that
ideas,
book.
they wanted to do good things, and then that got the old system got overthrown. And then new people came in and subverted that and just turned it back into what it used to be. So if there's not really if everybody in the glorious future isn't actually if every person isn't a thinker, isn't a leader, then they're just the masses to be controlled, and
Yeah,
hopefully they'll be controlled in a positive way, but it's usually not in a positive way. It usually ends right back at the same place it started in. So it's
exactly.
like I really think maybe that's the only hope is like what I always think about is as far as um just sort of a little anecdote on or not an anecdote but a little scenario that might apply is I've always been like, dang it, there's one for me. Um, maybe the best election system would be, all right, have everybody in your society
Oh, I remember this.
have ideas of how things should be run, have ideas of how we could improve things and make things better, and um, the only fair way maybe not the only fair way, but the only fair way that I've thought of, and the only way I've thought of that you could get around corruption and people gaming or rigging the system is that you elect everything by chance.
Yeah, like
Um,
a lottery system,
exactly. So
kind
you
of.
just randomly get your name drawn and you'll be, one of the presidents for the next 2 years after there's some
Yeah,
debates and stuff. Because otherwise you do have a complacent lower classes that are just there to there to be programmed. So the only way
Right.
around that is to really have people who are proactive in practicing and building up the patterns that they see are right uh
They're
and
more involved.
programming themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. More involved, more aware.
And you have to have a group of people that can do that and that you trust them to do that.
Yeah.
Um, or else you can kind of see where the elites are coming from. It's like, yeah, we can't trust the people to run themselves because
Exactly.
it's just gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
And someone else is gonna take over. So we have to, and I think, as much as they want to take out the middle classes and they want to, control everything, they may somehow actually truly believe that they have to do this for the common good, or
Yeah.
these people are just going to blow themselves up and we're going to be taken over by some power that's worse. Or, like, I guess I'll just keep using George Orwell as an example of like,
Yeah,
how
exactly.
the state, I forgot what it's called, but how the state, they always have some foreign power that they're like, this foreign power is so evil, so we have to
Yeah.
do all this evil stuff to protect you from it.
There's literally an arch enemy of the party,
The
of their
party,
like
that's what
state.
it was called.
Yeah, like the state. There's like the name was Emmanuel Goldstein, and the reason his name was Emmanuel Goldstein is one, it's Jewish. That's the only reason. But that's that fault. Well, it's about a society that's 100% socialist and fascist, you know. So obviously, um,
But the other
but
side,
that's
they're
right.
more socialist and fascist and they're more
Yeah,
violent.
yeah,
So,
exactly. And they want to kill you. But yeah, we're 1984 is like I when I first read it in like junior high, it's like, this isn't really relevant. And then in high school, it's like, oh, this is a little bit more relevant. I can kind of see the ideas. And now I'm like, holy shit, dude, we're fucked.
right.
Like this is the end. But sorry, I kind of interrupted you. What were you saying?
Um,
We're like,
I think that's all I was saying, but one thing I could add to it is like, when you do have these lower classes that get complacent
oh yeah,
and
they
aren't
need
ready
that.
to fight and they let things slip, those lower classes, like when you have, for example, and there's a lot of examples, there's a lot of people letting things slip in various ways, just
Hmm.
not doing anything to support things in a wholesome long-term way. Um,
Right.
you have people that are like taking, you know, college courses and like or getting degrees in like resistant storytelling as a form of resistance, or you have people just slacking off in general.
I
And
live
all of a
about.
sudden those pathways they were set up on, they don't work out, and then those people get sad, they get hopeless, they get disenfranchised, and then from there it's very easy to take those people and either radicalize them or just
Yeah,
give them a pod to live in.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
It's like they when they break him down at the end of 1984 when they break him down and turn his mind into mush, and then they ask him like, all right, so what's two plus two? He's like, it's five, like you said.
right,
That's the same idea as like I love that. I love what you just said. Is like they either get radicalized or they just walk into the pod.
right.
No more fear, no job, just vibes in the pod. But
Take your happy pills. Things are okay.
yeah,
It might not be the
this
truth, but it's the least path
yeah
of resistance.
the suburban
Path of least
internment camp.
resistance. There we go.
Yeah.
This is Suburban Internment Camp. That's the name of this episode.
America is a suburban internment camp. You are an employee to the state, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's the other
So
thing I've been meaning to say is like, I keep like wondering with all these people at these jobs, it's like that are somehow like loyal to it. Is like they gotta realize you are an asset on the balance sheet. You are not a shareholder here. Like, why do you have loyalty to these people? They don't care about you.
I had the chance. to break it down to somebody at work. I was like, because they were telling me about how like they were just like, oh, there's another one. How they were sad and feeling kind of isolated, not going out too much. And they're like, all I really do is work and go home. I'm like, you got to realize you are a person, first and foremost. You are just a man. You can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, right or wrong, you could do whatever you want to do right now. As a 20-year-old man, you are the most powerful being for yourself right now. You have the most time, the most energy, probably not the most money right now.
Yeah.
But you're free.
But what we gain in knowledge will be indispensable.
Yeah. Knowledge is for sure power. I do believe. But I had to break it down to him, like, you do whatever you want. It's not, and all this shit that is supposedly makes you happy and it's yada 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 is like, wouldn't you rather be fulfilled? You know what I mean? That's why I do all this research. That's why I do all this stuff, is because I genuinely, sometimes it sucks, sometimes I struggle. I have to work 40 hours and then I have to go on a website and scroll and read.
Yeah.
But what else am I gonna do? Am I gonna fucking sit around for 10 years?
Wait.
Yeah, am I gonna wait for something big that had just happened to walk into my life? No.
That's the other thing. It's like, this is gonna be a war at some point. This is gonna be a real struggle. So it's like, either you start fighting it now on your own terms, or you're gonna be forced to fight it for somebody else in a position that has not gained any value, any leverage.
I've decided to put my monetary and spiritual energy into a like active organization that I've created, that me and you have created.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Something that I, believe in. It's something I believe in. I put my heart into, while while somebody else is sitting there, putting their heart, putting their soul and their energy into fucking nothing, pretty much. And that's where I think that's where sadness comes from. If you got to put that energy somewhere else, it just turns into fucking rot in your system.
Yeah.
And when you start doing all these things that of course they make you happy right now, but think about it. What is this really going to bring you to? Is this going to bring your life any better? Probably not.
You got to start trying to make higher highs and higher lows, because a lot of people are just doing this.
Yeah.
They're getting a little bit, and then they're going, let me just chase these nice things. I got to get a little bit again. Let me chase these nice things.
Let me make one big investment and get out, and I can just chill.
Yeah.
Or like get rich quick. Or think about the long term. Think about not only the culture and what you're doing. Is it degrading society? Is it, recessing the culture? And is it recessing yourself? Are you degrading yourself by doing it? Don't be outcome dependent either. If you're really trying to do something big and important and it doesn't really work out for a second, don't fucking give up and leave. Because then what was it all for? And what does that lead to? What does giving up lead to? What does worrying about shit lead to? Fucking nothing.
Right.
All right, get real about this shit. There are people in this world that want to use you and use your energy for their gain. All right.
Swag.
And how are they gonna do it when you've already built the fucking firewall, when you've already built the tribe? All right. Because the glorious future starts today. All right. Because if we're going to cascade into this fucking technocracy, this fucking AI controlled society, or we're going to break into a fucking hydrogen bomb ballista, either way, motherfucker, you are protected by your firewall, by your security that you've set up for yourself. There is no way that this fails in the long run. All right. This is war mode. This is war mode. This is proactive. This is disinfecting the fucking virus you got in your head right now. All right.
Yeah.
This is waking up, smelling the fucking roses, grabbing you nuts, and getting to it. But this is war mode. This is war mode.
This is
fuck
here.
Those
this
other guys.
Electric.
Keep watching us. All right. Hey, keep watching us. All right. Because it ain't no fucking thing over here. But anyways, Israel is spraying raw sewage on Indian people.
On Indian people?
No, Egyptian people, sorry.
Egyptian Palestinian people?
Yeah. That's another thing too. Read up on I'm not saying you, Rowan, I'm talking to a listener. Read up on the first, what do they call it? The Intifada. Read up on that.
Nah, I
Read
need
up
to read up
about
on that.
the U it wasn't the UN, was it? The League of Nations giving Israel back to the Jewish people. Just read up on all those events and form your own ideas and opinions on either side.
Right.
But I'm not going to say I'm
I
not going
think
to
so.
take a stance on that. The only thing I'd really take a stance on is us funding anybody that isn't America,
Right.
which is not only Israel, but there is Iraq. We've been giving money to Iraq, you know, for the resistance fighters. That not anymore now that we're out of there, but it's I don't know where I'm going with this. That's the only thing I'd take an opinion on is American money going to the Middle East. But between these guys, the infighting in the Middle East, I would say stay pretty neutral on that. It doesn't really affect you.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying the war itself doesn't affect you. I'm saying taking a side within the war does not help
Right.
you at all.
Yeah.
To be pro Islam, to be pro Israeli, it does not. There's no fucking point in that. Be proactive. All right.
Exactly. Proactive. There we go. That's all I am. I try to be against the side that's killing the kids, but usually that's where I put
Yeah.
myself, but also the Jews are involved, so I probably shouldn't have an opinion on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not yeah.
Let's not get it. Let's not get into it.
Maybe I should say don't take a public opinion.
Exactly.
Keep that shit. The main reason I'm saying that, keep that shit to yourself, is because I don't want to see a group of fucking six momos standing on the corner screaming about Palestine when I got to go to work for 10 hours.
Exactly.
Okay?
And I don't want all of us to get deported to fucking El Salvador prison.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
could
dude.
you could do more benefit. You know, try
Do
to
you think
don't do anything
Americans
like I. There's a lot of ways that it would be nice to be for example, to be paying income taxes, paying federal taxes. There's nothing that says I have to do that. That's unconstitutional. But as soon, for example, but that's how they got William Cooper. William Cooper stopped paying his taxes, and they used that as an excuse to come shoot him. So
Yeah.
don't yes, it would be nice. There's a lot of things that are wrong, and it would be nice to go against right now, but we got to play the long game, and we got to not
Exactly.
set ourselves up to be in a position where they can come take us out of the game too easily because we we got too aggressive and we gave away our position.
Yeah, don't yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
Uh
And also, I don't entirely agree with this, but I heard Tim Dillon say one time, he's like, all those people in the Middle East, they think they're better than the other ones. They view all the other ones as less than. Um, and I view them all as less than because I am a white Christian man. We are the ones who win. Um, so, I don't agree with that, but
classic Tim Dillon.
there there is a there's a lot of stances you could take.
Yeah,
There's a lot of moves you could make. Not all of them will be uh
it's not these are not like 100%. These are all half truths. If you want to take a side 100% wholeheartedly, it's still only a half truth. There is no good or bad side, I think. It's all bad.
yeah.
And it kind of makes me think, how do you feel about like there is an argument to be
CIA,
said.
Mossad, Hamas, all cruise the bang. I always think of that song.
What song is that?
Pain Gang, Ill Bill.
Oh,
Where
dude,
he's
we'll have
like,
to put that in the intro.
that's got to be an intro.
Hell yeah, send me
Um,
that song on Instagram later and I'll
cause,
throw it in.
cause that is kind of all it is. It's like, yeah, you could support one side or the other, um, but it is just gang banging, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
How do you feel about like atheists being like, well, religion is the reason for all of this. Like, even if okay, yeah, that is kind of true. What are we gonna do about it? It's not like we can just X out 1,000 years of Islam. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Fucking
And
three
also
three
it's like
million 3 million years of Judaism.
personally it's like this is just an opinion, but it's like I feel like all religions eventually end up doing the same thing. Like they had a for the most part, I think there were things at the beginning of, well, some religions that there are truth to and were positive, and then they were subverted and used to be like, okay, here's how we can gain power over people, here's how we can get wealth,
Yeah.
or just here's how we can like change the rules and make it okay for us to view people as less than us or,
Yeah.
abuse children or whatever it is. So it's like that's one thing I would be wary of is like, because that's one thing I see, and there's another like for me, um, is how organized religion has like just turned a lot of people against God, you know?
Yeah.
Like you gotta get in touch yourself and you got your own mind to make up.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I don't know. I go there's like a lot of ways you could view the world, but and recently in thinking about like trying to reprogram yourself, trying to like think of everything as practice, or like I did get into some CTMU stuff for a little bit, which I would like to look into more, which is
Hmm.
um he was always saying, like God is the uh central system, the central program uh, for how this all works.
Mm.
And if you start, um, well, this is kind of me extrapolating on that, but if you don't play into the program of, creating and building as you were built to and meant to, and you let someone else use you, you might be playing into something good, or you might be playing into something that is taking you away from the source and
Mm.
from things as they were meant to be. Um, like if you can view everything as like little pathways you're setting up. Um,
Yeah.
and some of the stuff you're saying and some of the effects you might have, um, they might continue to have effects for forever. And like it's all
Yeah.
part of this, it's all connected, it's all part of the same thing. And it's all like nothing's original. It's all from the same energy, like building off of each other.
Yeah.
And
Like society, how it everything that we have now is built off things we've done in the past.
right.
It's the pathways that we built and chose,
Yeah.
as we're kind of just spiraling through the future and the
And
present.
anyway, I think that's sort of a part of God, and what you see is uh what Chris Lang and I'm not saying this is true, but it's something to think about. Is he was saying like the people who want to be separate from that, uh like what you always see the elites doing is like they are scared of like being just a person. They're
Yeah.
like trying to build themselves into something better, and they're trying
Yeah.
to live forever and escape the natural process, and they're just gonna end up in it's like, yeah, you can go away from the source, you can go away
Mm.
from from the
Yeah.
creator, but you're just gonna end up building your own hell and being trapped
Yeah.
here forever, basically. Because
Hmm.
I always think about that recently with like all the people that run things. Like I
You
wonder
gotta
like if you kidnapped them and you put them in a room with a lie detector test and you're like, what happens after you die? Like where do you think this is all going? Like I wonder what the answers you would get from the
Yeah.
the people who are uh really high up running things and doing all these terrible
I
things.
was I was listening to like it was a fiction book, but this guy was dying in the in this fictional book, but it was like he was like a really intelligent person and like a really high up, powerful man. And the way he was thinking about death as he's dying is still like trying to deny it because of the things he's done in his life. He's like, I've created so much, and the things I've hypothesized are so great that like I believe that I should be past death. I'm like transhuman past death. And it made me kind of think is like maybe not as severe as being past death, but like how far do these elites think they could take it? And like what is the I don't know, can we go back to the conspiracy of like eating babies and blood magic a little bit, but how like what is what is their thought process on death and dying and like being past dead? Because you gotta think, have you like imagine you're taking a fucking private jet everywhere. You're like, I can't fucking die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got fucking 12 people waiting on me, hand and foot. I don't even gotta fucking lift a finger. I'm eating fucking steak and lobster, and like 1.3 million Americans are fucking paying for it. It's like, you see my buddy over here? You see my buddy over here? He made $100 million this Tuesday. You see what happened Monday? Yeah. So it's like, yeah, dude, how can you be like, you probably think you are a god at some level.
Yeah.
Because even me, I'm like, I just got a $1,400 paycheck. I'm smoking a cigar. I don't give a fuck that I'm in a Ford Taurus. Nobody can fuck with me. It's crazy what the shit. It's like what the shit can do to your ego.
Yeah.
You know. But I love that. You should post that in the Discord, in the documentaries. Or what was it?
Right.
CMTU.
The CTMU, the Cognitive Theoretical Model of the Universe.
Post that documentaries tonight.
All right.
I want to watch it. I need to post this one. I might have. Is about how like it's from this guy Horses. He posts a lot of good videos. He posted one about Genghis Khan. That was really good. But it said that like we are living in a simulation, not like as we generally think, like the Matrix, but the way our society is set up, it is a simulation. It's like we simulate happiness through consumerism, and we kind of simulate this pain and this turmoil through our jobs that aren't even. I guess I don't want to say. I'm not really saying it as good as he did, so I'll post it. But like we do simulate everything that we kind of interact with or feel. Not everybody, and not to 100% extent, but like these problems, like oh, there's 2 likes right there. Damn. How I was explaining it to that person that you have free will, you are a person beyond just a job and all that stuff. You know, everything that you're worried about and everything that you want to aspire to be is just a part of this simulation, this society that we set up to where it's like, over in Iran, there's fucking crazy shit going over in the Houthis in I don't think it's Iran, in Yemen. There's fucking people just getting blown up out of nowhere and shit, and we're over here and living in a simulation. I feel like I don't know. The amount of security we have and the way we have things set up for us. The hamster wheel, inter the suburban internment camp is a simulation. With the celebrity politics and the politician celebrities and fucking sending Katy Perry to the moon and shit. It's all just a simulation. We yeah. So that's what the glorious future is too. I believe we could take on this ideal as breaking away from the simulation of what it, I don't know. I'll post the documentary. You could watch it. I'll watch it again. We could talk about it more in the next one. We'll just leave it at there.
Yeah.
But I'll put it in the Google Docs as soon as we hang up. What time we got? About 12:30.
Let's see. Yeah, that's an hour.
Oh, sweet.
That's solid. That's a fucking solid hour.
We won't. I don't think we'll hit financials today.
Yeah. Couple next week, sometime soon, end of the month. We're buying Bitcoin, gold, silver, probably gold and silver. there's interesting things going on there. I didn't catch it.
And so yeah, I
But
definitely missed it a little bit.
more opportunities to come. There's always more opportunities.
Only thing I would say is I usually don't have much to say about financials, but I still even more like watch Camel, you know, watch whatever, mostly Camel. I don't know anybody else really that you'd want to take advice from, but get up on
Bob
the financials.
Lucas,
Even if you're not,
Kimazabi.
I would say the only thing for sure buy right now, from my perspective, is Bitcoin. And if I learn more about it a little bit more, most likely gold and silver this next month.
Yeah.
But
And I would
but for
say in
anything
the
else,
next 20 years.
yeah. But for anything else, you guys got to do your own research on that. You got to form your own plan, because my plan probably won't work out for you. But you know, take the advice, take it as it is, but don't think this is just a blueprint.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'd say that. It's not like I just say uh-huh whenever we do financials.
No. Well,
But
I
we're
don't even
getting
know
there.
if a
We're
lot of
getting
this.
there.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
I'm learning.
Slow and steady. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is gonna be stuff. It's like I shouldn't even said the next 20 years. This is gonna be the next 100 years. The next
Yeah.
who knows how long. You know, there's gonna be more opportunities, and you gotta stay patient with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there may be some big depression thing coming up, but you know, we'll just position for it as best we can, and there will be opportunities within that. There will be opportunities coming out of it, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Just be on the up and up. Keep your ears up. Keep them fucking out. But anyways, um, let's see. Final piece of advice for the week. We're on a Sunday here, so rest of the week, just fucking be awake, dude. Be
yeah,
more be more awake. Be more aware, right? Because like
yeah,
Obi-Wan said, you know, don't trust your eyes, they will deceive you. So
right.
you gotta open up
Damn,
that you gotta open up third eye and
we could go into that really quick too, because just I don't know if it was sleep deprivation or what the other day, because it was early morning. We were out like moving stuff around on the day, and I'm sitting there on the boat and I'm looking out and I'm like, dang, look at all these little birds lined up like that. There's so
yeah.
many of these little birds. And then like I'm pretty sure I was like, you know, seeing their heads and, you know, beaks and everything. And then all of a sudden I look at one and I'm like, huh, that's weird. That doesn't look like a bird. That's that's just a little gray buoy. And then all of a sudden
Oh
they were
yeah.
all little gray buoys. And I was like, I think my brain just made up and was like filling in little details of them
Oh
being
yeah.
birds. So I from then on I was just
And
like,
your brain will do that with everything. With every input. I feel like is
right.
that's like that's happened to me before. But the other day, dude, I was like driving and the fucking road turns off and I didn't even fucking see it. It's crazy. But I don't like I was just like staring at the road, not like I was on my phone or anything, but just looking at the road. I'm like, what the fuck? Just go straight. And then when I get close enough, I see it just fucking hooks off to the left. I don't know. Your brain plays tricks on you though.
Yeah. But anyway, just to like watch things and not jump to conclusions too quickly, not try
Mhm.
to put things in too much context, but
Yeah.
and at the same time to watch the images that are inside your mind, because
Yeah.
and to make sure you're not jumping to conclusions too quickly there.
Oh
Um
yeah.
and you know, playing off emotion, what you want to be there, what you don't want to be there,
Yeah.
and try to because
That's a good one.
that
Yeah.
is going to create your reality
Yes.
slowly but surely, and on an individual level, collectively, to just watch what you're seeing in the world, and you
What you're
know,
practicing. Yeah.
and what pathways you're building up in your mind,
Hmm.
um, and
Your assumptions
see if
create
that's
reality.
yeah, to see if that's aligned with what you want to create, and to see if that's aligned with actual reality, and if you're interacting with it right and truthfully.
Swag.
Swag.
Damn.
There we go. Is that it? That's that?
Dude, that's victory right there.
Bam, another one.
Victory, everybody. Yo, have a good week, y'all. Stay in touch with yourselves. Stay in touch with a higher power, whoever that may be, Buddha, Christ, whatever. You know, as long as you're in touch with that, it'll be all right. Remember, everything you do is practice, so you got to practice all this shit. Okay, keep your mind sharp, keep your eyes open, and whatever you assume, whatever you feel emotionally, that's going to be a reality. All right, so stay on the up and up. Stay good.
Program into the glorious future.